Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kingmaker Season 3 session. What is this, 6 or something like that? Go away, cat. I was like, I do the whole, you take the tail and you tuck it and you gently push. Okay, half a pound of pressure, 1 pound of pressure, 60 pounds of pressure. And the guy's like, oh.
My cat's so hench. She's just like, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Sorry.
Yeah, Rocket does the flop.
I know.
You're trying to move me.
She does that sometimes, where I'm trying to like give her the gentle nudge so she'll pop off, and sometimes she does this the whole, I'm just gonna collapse my hips and just sit here and it's like, so then you end up having to like push this like goop off of you. Like, but my sweater, freshly washed, is now covered in fur. Cats.
There's an answer to that. Brush your cat.
Or kerosene.
Buy a new jumper. Burn the old one. Buy a new jumper.
Yeah, that's
someday
the
your
burn.
cat's going to go missing, and there'll be so much evidence against you.
the cat won't go missing. She actually, when I first moved here, there was a time where I was moving a bunch of stuff into the basement, and I forgot the basement door open. And it was, mind you, when I was just moving. I don't think I even announced yet that I bought a house and moved. And she came out of the basement, and I saw her. She's like, came out the basement, and I was like, oh shit. Because she's like, she stood out there, and she looked around, she's like, it's a really big world out there. Nope! She's always been an indoor cat, so. Hi everybody, how are we doing today? Good morning. Or evening for two of you, technical morning. And you, Steve.
I mean, yeah, it's after 12, it's morning.
Right? Are we all ready to pick up exactly where we left off?
No.
Yep.
So let's remind everybody of what happened last session. Tesh, I said the right name.
You're evil. Okay.
Tesh,
So,
no, you don't have to do it. I'll do it for you. Okay.
Thank you.
So Tesh, last session, you, sir, took your soldiers and went to Rid, and there you met the army of Haude Gwenh on the battlefield, and you decided slow and steady wins the race, which wasn't a bad tactic. I mean, your rolls are really good, so on and so forth.
See, what I was relying on was a normal person's rolls.
Your
Not my
modifiers are really
rolls.
good. Modifiers.
Yeah. But see,
Let's
my
be very clear
rolls
on that
are
one.
terrible.
You needed to roll consistently. You needed to roll a 4 or higher to succeed, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
That sounds like pretty. One failure is not too bad. 2 maximum failures in a row.
Yeah. The thing is, even if you rolled a 1, in theory, luck die can maybe get you over but there was no saving you, Tesh. So unfortunately, your army lost and disbanded and retreated back to their own people. Now, luckily, most of the negative side effects of a disbanding army don't hit you because these are hired. This is a hired army, not your people. So like,
No, they just took our money and ran.
correct. Yeah, correct. So like, you don't get like the negative hit to like your loyalty and so on and so forth. That doesn't happen. However, losing a city, that's gonna have its effects. Because Rid was overtaking. Luckily, it was evacuated beforehand, but it was overtaken. Over to meanwhile in Haude Gwenh, Jake comes bursting through the basement of some keep. Evan teleported in there, and he's like, "You want to die? Too bad." Splat. Splat. And just overruns the city and gets a whole bunch of the citizens to aid him, and just starts burning things down, killing people. Just it becomes a free-for-all of chaos of him just murdering anybody that stands against the will of the rulers of Valorant. So it's pretty awesome. Ends with literally them standing outside of the old bank where this all started, sieging it and needing to get his way in there, and him calling to do an old trick from before. And meanwhile, over in Harrod, we have Neil starts heading south, or head south, and tested the fortifications, or I should say the grit of the militia that was down in Herod beforehand. He was actually doing fine with his touch and go tactics before he realized, oh no.
Hit and run, not touch and go. Touch and go makes it sound like it was bad.
I mean, both of those apply. That's like saying, Scott, that is off-white. Or that's mother of pearl, not off-white. Well, no, technically they're both off-white.
It's not. It's not touch and go tactics.
It is touch and
The
go.
horseman didn't just like walk
I
up
touch.
and stroke them and
There
then
you go.
run away.
Cat, why are you so needy for attention today?
Just give her the attention.
Yeah,
Alright?
Give scritches. One thing I've learned about cats: you give them attention for like 2 minutes, and they're like, "Cool, thanks, bye."
No, she just purrs louder and louder. So,
Purring is really good for cats. Apparently, it allows them to heal.
oh,
Yeah,
good for her.
it's one of the reasons why they don't need as much exercise is because of their purring.
Apparently, it reduces their risk of cancer.
Should I?
If they're gonna get cancer, it'll be in their outer extraneous limbs because the vibration helps them heal.
Should I purr to
Studies are suggesting.
so I can sit here?
If we could purr, then I would recommend it.
Oh yeah, that's not okay.
Scott is a furry though.
I am vibrating other parts of my body at the same time. Does that count?
Oh,
No.
and it got weird.
To be fair, it started there. And then the touch and go tactics, hit and run tactics. And they were actually going pretty well when you realized, oh crap, they have the rest of their army with them. This probably isn't going to last for very long. And then you ran back to join up with the rest of your army, marched forward and realized this isn't going to work out. I just got word that Rid has fallen. I need to end this quickly. Decided to make a deal with them. I know this is not 100% chronological order, but decided to make a deal with them. Your champion against ours, and then after you win, which is obviously your plan, to then hit them from both sides to actually go against your word of the deal that you had made with them. Because unfortunately, the falling of Rid is.
Technically, it's not actually breaking.
It's one of those things where it's like he's technically not breaking the deal, but also kind of breaking the deal.
Yeah, it's
because I promised that I wouldn't go across and assault the town, which I'm not going to do.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like you can try to pull out technicalities and be like,
my word, but you're still going to lose like 10.
No, he intended to be honorable, and then he found out about Reed and was like, "Well, fuck, now we can't really do that."
It's technically it's dishonorable, but not breaking his word. That's
no,
the
judge, seriously, technically, that is not the word of what I said, but you're still
Actually,
a dick.
In this kingdom, Rayron's king. He's the judge.
Yeah.
And the jury.
Yeah.
Actually, these two are the jury.
You say it to the gods.
And one right there's the execution.
You say it to the gods after your the day of your demise.
Sorry,
So
what gods?
Exactly. Exactly. This is going so well.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right.
Exactly.
So are we all ready for this?
Turn down for what?
All right. Let's switch cameras over to pick up where we had left off there with our fun little recap. It's so funny doing recaps because if you watch on YouTube, I imagine it's like, fast forward through this. But if you watch on Twitch, I imagine it's going to be helpful to some degree. Why can't I find the turn order? Like, I have it on my screen, but it's not on yours.
Well, if you don't know it, I guess PC goes first.
No, I have it. It's just not.
Oh, I remember what's happening now.
It's not visible for you.
You nearly one-shot the devil lady. Well, not devil lady. The giant lady.
You've been able to forget.
Yeah,
I haven't. I lived with this all week, knowing what was coming.
It's okay. You almost one-shot her. Just give her a love tap.
It's the love tap.
That's all I need.
Yeah, that's weird. It's being weird. Because again, I have the turn order. It's right here. Oh well, I just have to re-put it back in. It was. I'll just push it out of the way. Currently, it is in the middle of her turn, and then it's Rayron's turn after that. Now,
Her turn has ended.
I never finished.
I specifically remember him saying that she had an extra thing planned.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, no, Jake, I gotcha. So after last session had ended, what I did was I said, oh, that's the first half of our full attack action. Now I have what we often call addition blindness, because there's too many additions floating in my head. Rule changed from 3.5 to Pathfinder, wherein you cannot use, specifically with grapple, you cannot use each one of your attacks during the full attack action. It's just supplement it for a grapple check. Jake had actually spoken to one of his friends offline and did some rules searching himself, did some research and sent it all to me, but I deleted it from the chat rooms in case that Neil didn't see it so I can make Neil sweat longer. But
I already saw it.
Darn
Thanks,
it. So make sure that Neil gets sweat or whatever. But but you can do that in Pathfinder with certain types of CMB checks, but not specifically grappling. Grappling is always a standard action. So she did her standard action to grab him and grapple him successfully, and that was the end of her standard. She still has her bonus and her move action, which she doesn't really do anything with. I think I remembered what map it's on. I think we're actually on the that's why.
The bridge.
Yes, this map. There it is.
Okay. Thank fuck. I apologize. Thank you, Jake, for researching and stuff.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just going to state too, if anybody wants my attention in chat, do the little @ thing, because while I was at work, I had a bottle of bleach break and it like sprayed into my eyes, so I can't see chat a lot of the time.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you work for Amazon?
Oh my god, that's horrific.
It is awfully horrific.
I hope they at work don't provide you goggles.
Well, they luckily the place I was working was right next to the hospital, so they got me there within like 5 minutes, and they just flushed my eyes for like I suppose like an hour. But yeah, so it's like my vision has been slowly decreasing over the years.
Oh my god.
And it's getting really bad now where it's like to read chat I have to be like,
Oh my god.
Can you get glasses?
I mean, I haven't looked into it, but it's probably something I should do.
You should probably get glasses!
I mean, not
I've been
only,
wearing them since I was like 5 or 6.
not only do they help, but if you pick like the right pair, they make you look sexy.
No. So there's like, you can look up social experience of this. People think that you're smarter when you have glasses too.
Yeah, it's true.
They just
But I mean,
they
the
speak
social
to you
experiments are
differently when you have glasses versus when you don't. It's crazy. It's like they treat you with more respect. You're like, that's right. I can't get any respect around here. You know. All right. So, anyways, well, at him or don't. So where we had left off was she had drank the potion, turned invisible, which is funny because she had done the whole of it. Anyways, grappled you, and just because she was invisible, that does mean that it does circumvent the CMD. The AOO of grappling. And now that you guys are grappled, you can no longer attack of opportunity any future grapple checks. All right, sir. Like I said, that was her turn. She can't really move with her turn. Technically, as part of the grapple action, you guys are in an adjacent square. That's that. It's now... It's now your turn, Neil. Are you purring down there? Even without the pets, you're down there purring?
She's fucking purring. You know she's purring.
I'll give you some.
Right, let me double check that I've done everything correctly. It's 2. Yeah. Okay. Right. So wherein can attempt to stab her, correct?
Oh,
With a
God.
minus 2 mod because he's grappled.
Yeah. You denied your dex when you grappled?
Not when you're grappled, I think when you're pinned.
When you're pinned.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let me apply the grappled. Grappled there.
Did you see the flowchart that I sent you at some point in time?
I've looked at both.
A
different
grappled
varieties.
creature. So it was a Pathfinder flowchart. A grappled creature takes a -4 penalty to dexterity, cannot make attacks of opportunity, cannot move. Takes a -2 penalty on all attack rolls and combat maneuver checks except made those against except those made specifically for grapple or escaping. So that's a -4 to dex and a -2 to attack rolls. So for you, that's a cumulative -4 total because of your because you rely on dexterity for your attacks, right? Cannot perform any actions that requires 2 hands. Cannot stealth or hide from blah 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 blah. And
now that is an interesting one.
okay, and that becomes invisible. That doesn't matter. Okay.
What is it to draw a weapon?
Drawing a weapon is always a move action, and like I said, you cannot move, although you can still make move equivalent actions. So drawing a weapon,
Draw a weapon.
You can do that. Yep.
Okay.
As long as it's one-handed.
You had your black blade out, didn't you?
Technically. Oh no, I do. Okay, no, I can use that with one. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, technically, I do.
Yeah, I remember you specifically making it so you could use it one-handed.
Yes, I'm like how you recall that, but I don't. Black.
I was in call for your many discussions about it, and I was like, I apparently absorbed the information while not really paying attention.
Smashing. It is plus melee plus dex plus. I'm just creating a new attack for.
Do they have luck? That's a really good question. I'm gonna look right now. I don't think I opened that in. No, I opened that tab somewhere. I'll have to check that somewhere.
I'm just creating a new for one-handed. So
I see the luck thing.
what's my? That's a 1d.
There we go. There's my dashboard.
That is a 1d10.
In case somebody wants to trump him.
1d8 plus strength plus.
Neil, how are you not ready for this? You've had a whole week.
I've stoically
Thank you, Anna.
stoically ignored it.
We're not in the middle of war, but I'll definitely do that when it applies, Anna. Thank you.
Dang it.
I think that.
Welcome to
that's
Kingmaker.
also- right. Okay. Right. That's all set right then. So wherein can make a one-handed attack. I've got the grappled condition on, so he's suffering the
-4 dexterity and the -2 to attack rolls, so a cumulative -4. Cool.
Yep.
Or I say total of -4, not cumulative.
Yep. So he's going to make a black blade attack with one hand.
Okay. Okay.
22. Can I like that?
Luck what?
That attack.
You want to luck the 22?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You don't want to not hit. I can't remember what required to hit before. I don't want to risk not killing her.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just
Yeah. All right. What's the luck dice? 1d4. Yeah.
It also
sir.
lets us know how many we have left, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to ask Josh because he was on vacation and he's doing his own
busy,
stuff
he's
lately.
busy.
Yeah, and he's actually at an important meeting today, so
Okay, so
you have
26,
one luck
yeah.
die left.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Did somebody want to trump? Does somebody want to trump him before I? Does somebody want to curse him before I say the
I'm
result?
rolling damage,
Stop asking for it.
and I'm also rolling my shocking grasp damage because that's still held. So, what is my shocking grasp damage? It is. I'm just ignore the attack roll. I'm just gonna click it for ease.
Yep, I figured for the damage. Yep, 26. Jesus. So 26 plus 9 is 35 points of damage. That is a big boy hit. And so she grabs you. She drinks the potion. She goes invisible, and she has grabbed you. and she's starting to like wrestle with you to bring you down into the river below. Like clearly she's got you. She's like muscling you over to the edge of the boat, and she's about to like throw the two of you overboard. And it's one of those things where as she grabs you, and she's starting to bend your back over the bridge, and you can tell she doesn't intend to like throw you over. She intends to go down with you. She's starting to bend your back there. You find this moment where as she's like pulling you back, you just kind of like reach over and you're just like trying to stab at her, and she like blocks you, like hits your arm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big sword. It's not designed for this sort of close combat.
Exactly. She hits your arm again, and then she's literally starts to like lift you up and get like your leg partially over. It gets like one of your ass cheeks over, and then you just like pull your head back and like smash it into her face. So she's like blinded for a second, and it gets you just enough time that you get the tip of your blade pressed against like her side, and she's like and she starts to taking the electrical shock, and you start sliding the blade in further. Now, fun fact, while she was invisible, she actually had the ability to, as a move action, drink another potion. So she did drink another potion that round and did heal. However, However, she only healed 28 health points, so actually only got her up to either 30 or 31. I can't remember if she had two. Actually, I had it written right here. She got her up to 31 health. You just
Jesus
did
Christ.
35 points of damage. So, like, and then the blade slides in and, hits her in the heart. And then she just, you can start feeling the strength in her sapped as she just kind of like, you could see like the life fading from her eyes as she's realizing she's dying. And then I'll let you
tormented me for a week.
I'll let you take over narration from there.
I mean, she's much bigger than Wherein, and Wherein sword is in her right now. So like as she slumps back, Wherein like slumps forward, being brought with the sword. And then he'd sort of stagger to the side before turning and pulling the sword out. And then he'd turn to face his own army and raise it.
There would be a lot of cheers.
Yes, cheer for me, Scott.
That's that.
That's not cheering. That's like
Yeah, that might be the sound that is coming from something else. Please, not the dungeon.
That's what you get. That is the cheer you get from me. Appreciate it.
And then Wherein will turn to the opposing army, sheath his sword, and incline his head.
The person that had handed her the potions beforehand, that had cast the spell to what's the word I'm looking for? That had cast a spell to detect magic on you and so on. You can see them. You can see them like looking at you. And let's be serious. You're very exposed right now. And roll me a perception check.
Someone threw a trump in. They're betraying their agreement.
They're about to take the sniper shot.
And do me a favor. Roll me an insight check.
Oh.
Or sorry, sense motive in this game.
That's fine, because this works even better, because that militia commander will actually be really upset by the breaking of the word.
Is music a good volume, by the way, guys? I feel like I might have a smidge louder than usual. That is a beautiful sense motive.
It'll only serve to further break the two armies apart.
Do you want to luck either of those, or are you good?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. So you, with your perception, so with your sense motive, you can see that as you incline your head, there is like that moment, that struggle, where they see that you are exposed. Because you're not just like the champion of the fight. You're one of the three rulers. And there you are, separated from your army. Already injured, granted, not incredibly so, but...
Raymond can't take much injury.
Already injured. And just sitting there, waiting, like they only have to cast the right spell, and they can defeat you, right here, right now. Sure, the battle would still, but that would be a huge victory. You can see that gleam in their eye. You can see that I mean, the accolades that they can get for killing one of the 3 rulers. It's right there. It's right there. With your perception check, something else does also catch your eye. You see, as by rule of their faith, sigil of Lady Aravel hanging from their neck.
The commander.
This isn't the commander. This is this caster, whoever this mage happens to be. This caster that's here. Spellcasters are pretty rare in Adir. You guys are definitely the most powerful ones, unless there happens to be somebody that is like visiting here. You guys are amongst the top tier of most powerful. I should say specifically Tesh's, because he's actually playing a full-blown caster. So he's like top 3, if not top 1 caster in Adir at pretty much any point in time. But you can see that struggle, and you can even see as they go to incline their head, you think that they're reaching for components. But though you probably don't have enough time to cast a spell without like an initiative or something like that beforehand, you can speak before they act, because it's free.
I have many friends who worship Lady Aravel. Think carefully on how your actions will reflect on her faith before you step outside of the bounds of our agreement. The Lady pledges law and order and obedience.
I'm going to require 2 things from you because of what you chose to say there. One of them is a diplomacy check, obviously, right? But the other one's actually a bluff check because you don't know anybody. You have no friends that worship Lady. You have no friends because Jake kills them all.
Excuse me? I am friends with Vigil.
You walk into like a movie theater and there's somebody there that like clearly, you know, and you're like, hey, how you doing? And Jake's like, no! And like throws an axe from across the room. And they're like lying dead next to the popcorn machine. He's like, you do not talk to that person. Like he's like a jealous girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, did you see those titties? Ah, kill her! No, you do not talk to those titties.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Jake. Sorry, everybody, for that depiction of Jake. We all know it's an Australian stereotype.
It's quite inappropriate. Summation of mine or Raven and One's relationship, I think.
Yeah.
So anyways, the bluff check was, again, it was more like bridging the gap between acquaintances and allies and friends, right? But it works. Your diplomacy, are you happy with your 23, or do you want to modify the 23? I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know the rules for diplomacy.
I don't think he's going to be fully hostile, so he should only require a DC 20, not a DC 25.
So you are familiar with the rules. Cool.
Pardon me?
I don't think he'd be, because like I know that we're not allies, I know that we're not friends, but we are meeting in an honorable fashion in an ordered environment currently. So we're not at combat. So I think it would be a DC 20. So
Okay, if you're happy with that, your words, it's not that your words don't sway to his persona. It's like, because it is one of those things where literally you can see that what you had said to him gives him more pause and makes him like, ugh. And he does look down at his charm, and he's like, there was a deal here, there was a pact here, but so much honor and whatnot can be had. It gives him pause, but not enough pause. He draws forward some components and casts a spell. Why don't you do me a favor, and we're going to reset the initiative tracker here, and I'm going to have you roll into initiative again for me. That bastard.
It's okay. If anything, this is actually a good thing, because it means you can now retaliate and attack them back without, like...
yeah.
Ah! No! You gave them so much pause! Oh, I rolled a natty one! I rolled a natty one! Oh no!
Close the gap and kill him.
Oh my god!
This is something where the mechanics versus the thing. Technically, he made the first move still, even if Rayron gets to attack first.
No, but
This guy went to attack first.
Rayron was aware of what was going on there, so it's not.
Yeah.
not necessarily the
no.
soldiers or anything behind him. They might not be aware. So, and Rayron is smart enough to see that fine line. But that doesn't mean that Rayron can't put up appropriate defenses or still make the claim, because the soldiers opposed to that guy, Rayron soldiers, can still potentially see what this man is doing, even if the people behind him can't necessarily see. You know what I mean? Oh, I cannot believe that I rolled that poorly.
Good. Good.
Oh, that is so painful.
I can take an action, yeah?
Yes, you have initiative. Oh, it sucks so bad.
Rayron's going to make a symbol with his hand, say a word, and then there's more of him on the bridge.
Ugh,
Oh,
more than your body has room for.
Right, so how many images do I create? 1d4, where I just create plus 1 per 3 caster levels, and I'm 5
Caster
caster
level, yeah.
levels.
So
it's 1d4 plus 1.
Correct, sir. If you could roll that for me.
I like that. I create one.
Wouldn't that be just like, come on.
Hey, wow.
Hey.
There's 6 of you. So, I mean, that is pretty amazing.
Damn.
So, that is your turn. Is you do so you won initiative, so you would have been able to act first either way. It's now his turn, and so on his turn he gets out the components, but more or less, but he's not able to correctly because it's almost like he pulls out the components, but he's like fumbling and like it's like shit, and then he looks up and he sees like all those images everywhere. He's like shit, and he reaches down and starts grabbing out different components. I will do so much as to give you this, Neil, because of like me rolling the natural 1 and everything. I will allow you to roll a spellcraft check, though the DC is a little bit higher than usual, to figure out
Oh fuck! I know what he's casting.
what spell he was intending to cast because of the components being pulled.
I'm going to use full back strategy.
Oh, you had not used that yet.
That is clever. I like it.
Right, let me close. Full back strategy is no guy.
He is burning hands, clearly.
Okay, so he's going to cast Burning Hands.
Of course.
He don't give no fuck about your clones. He light the whole area on fire.
Yeah, correct. And you get the impression he was probably going to do that anyways, but yeah. All right, now it's back to your turn. He still hasn't cast a spell.
I mean, I'm just going to close the distance and behead the bastard.
You go right ahead, sir. It's very obvious that he dropped components and then he's pulled out more components and he's getting himself into a stance. This is, again, the people opposing him, so your army can probably see everything. His army is questionable.
Yeah. Well, I did make him draw out 2 sets of components, which is good for hopefully making them see that he's doing something to dodge. Anyway, right, so this will be a shocking grasp. Let's close the distance and slash. Oh, that might not actually hit him.
That is so middle of the ground.
I know, right? That is vicious for a caster.
Are you going to roll your last status die?
Conditions off and all that.
Pardon?
Did you remove the grapple condition and all that?
I did, yes, I did. I just rolled a 2.
While you're
so
rolling your last luck die, Josh, I'm glad that your meeting went very well. I hope that it ends up being exactly what you were hoping for.
Do you think I should?
Yeah, of course. Of course you should.
Josh.
Of course you should. You got to use it so that Tesh doesn't have it later on.
you need to mop this guy up.
You do.
But I'll
Even
get
if
an
I
attack
were
of
to
opportunity
die,
anyway, most likely.
Yeah, but look at it this
If he
way.
attempts to
Even
cast.
if you don't,
Because he can free 5-foot step and all that.
Yeah, you can 5-foot step.
Yeah.
Not only that.
Okay.
yeah, we need you to
okay,
get to
alright,
help
well.
me. I can't save
I
myself at this
definitely
stage.
would have hit.
So-
There's been a
Yeah,
ploy.
I can't save myself.
15.
I need you to come save me with an army.
So, fun fact, the AC was actually 13 because, I mean, he's a caster, so it's not like he has a huge AC on him. But, so you hit it, and roll your damage, sir, because I know it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping to instigate the boy. Right, so that's the damage from that, and again, ignore the attack roll.
He rolled max damage!
Oh, he did.
Oh my god, 33 points of damage. This guy is a caster. He does not have 33 health. I will allow you to describe that, sir.
He reaches into his component pouch. Wherein says the words. He starts looking up, and there's 6 Wherins. Then he starts reaching again. He looks up. There's still 5 Wherins on the bridge. And there's one, but he's a sort of foot, and his head slides off his shoulders.
Do the Samurai Jack attack.
Yeah, Wherin just dashes forward.
Kitty.
Just head straight off.
Nice.
Look at that kitty.
Nice.
That's
And-
a happy cat.
And so it's a happy cat that after I'm done with the office, by the way, I already talked to Brett. I'm like, oh, all this extra wood and everything I have, I'm gonna actually build one of those cat scratch posty things.
Oh, she'll fuck. They
'Cause-
love that.
Because she doesn't
And
have
if
one.
if you give her some, she doesn't have one. Oh,
No.
that's so sad.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
If you-
I have like extra
if you
carpet.
If you make one, yeah, that has carpet near, like higher up as well, she'll sit on that often when
Yep.
she's around you, rather than sit on you, because they like being high up.
I did say that if I built one that was big enough, like we're talking at least 5 feet, so that she truly like loves being up there, I would allow that to go into the office with me. But unless I have the material or the give a shit enough to build a tall one, I'll probably just leave it out of the office.
I can tell you, if you make one big enough that it's in the like high up in the background of your shot, and the cat likes using it, that would be good for you.
Yeah, that's true. People love cats.
People very much love that.
I don't. But
People watching Twitch very much love that.
Neil, beautiful. He dies, and so there's this moment where the army opposing you gets rattled by what's going on there. And again, you can get the impression not everybody witnessed, not everybody understood what just transpired, but you can also get the impression very quickly. This is a snap judgment as you look up and kind of like gathering the odds of what's happening. And I'm playing off of your previous, I think, like 24, whatever it was, sense motive.
Yeah.
That some of them realized what just transpired, and some of them just saw you rush forward and attack this other person. And again, casters are few and far between in Adir, and you just killed one. How do you want to handle that situation that you immediately are looking up at? Charge! No.
Let's YOLO it. Wherin will reach down and pick up his head
Oh, Jesus
and
Christ.
hold it aloft and say, "Is this what the men and women of Haude Gwenh have become? Honorless, word breakers." He tosses the head into the river. "Is this what you want to be remembered as? Your leaders have made a deal. I would remind you that your families..." I don't know where I'm going with that. I've just fucked up. I don't usually do that.
What?
I would remind you that you represent your people out on this field. Your leaders, your families.
Do me a favor. I know you're in the middle of it. Roll me a diplomacy check for how it started. Actually, technically, that's an intimidation check.
Yeah, that's fair. I fucking hate intimidate. It's my worst. My worst stat of the social stats.
So you can see that once again, you are, as you're speaking, and like, because you obviously you're reading the crowd as you're speaking, you get the impression that the words that you're saying, your actions and whatnot, are having an impact on some of the people there. However, picking up the head and throwing it into the river, it's also having the opposing impact on others that are there as well. You're still talking, but you get the impression that things are about to go sideways. You can literally see some actions being taken. You can see people grabbing bows and whatnot. Sure, you do have some magical defenses on you right now, but they're only going to protect you so much. I'll allow you to keep going, but you know you can get the impression again. It's going to start with maybe a couple, but it could turn. Things are about to go sour.
I've won the honorable combat. Those of you who want to live with honor, the commander's words are to allow me and my army to pass. And then he'll turn and walk back. He carefully steps over the body of the fallen champion. She doesn't deserve disrespect.
And so obviously you're walking. Now, are you walking backwards, or are you turning around and exposing your back?
He'll walk backwards a few steps till he's on the bridge, and then turn around about halfway.
I imagine you're only literally like 2 steps off of the bridge at this point.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So maybe one more step to pick up that head. Toss it over your head like a cat. Yeah.
No.
And thus ends your career.
Milo.
That was actually the caster's name. That's funny. Milo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
It's canon now.
So anyways, you're doing that, and you can literally, as you're walking backwards, you can hear the thud of an arrow hit the bridge, and then another thud as another arrow kind of swinging by and hits one of the mirror images and causing it to dissipate. Yep. And luckily you're like moving backwards, and you can see that some of your soldiers, like as it starts to happen, and you're doing the whole like confidently walking away, hoping that things don't go sour.
Yeah, literally, he's like, that is the definition of bravely running away. He's like,
Yeah.
don't let them see that you're walking faster than normal.
I feel like that's like a Picard moment. Like, no, I'm going to maintain my walk. It's like, you know. So, anyways, the arrows are coming in. Several of your soldiers come rushing forward with shields out. It's like throw up the shields, and luckily one of them like catches another arrow, whatnot. A few of your illusions are gone. Thematically, none of them actually hit the real you. They do take a couple of your illusions, but even though the fighting does kick up to a degree where it's like literally a few of their soldiers meet a few of yours on the bridge, as a quick little, their commander is able to come over very quickly after that. It is because they were held back watching the battle. They're able to come over and take command of the soldiers and pull them back, just like one of your lieutenants is able to come over, and again the fighting breaks off, and then he steps forward in front of the rest of them and does call for you to come and speak to him as well. This is, I keep messing with the frame. I'm sorry, everybody. To speak with him as well, so that their 2 commanders call for you to have that moment with them. I imagine you go meet with them.
On the bridge,
Correct.
Sure. I mean, Raymond will stay. He won't go as far as he did before. At this point, they've lost a bit of the previous standing.
Yeah, and this is you stay on your side of the bridge, them staying on their side, which is all good and well or whatever. And you stay on your side, whatever. And yay, look, we'll have the corpses represent their side.
I mean, that's accurate.
Oh,
Ew.
them big words. Big words.
Them's be big words.
And this is where somebody drops the trump card and they just attack you. No, so you they call over, and it's one of those things where their commander calls out and says, "You've won the battle between the champions, and so you have earned your passage. You've also beaten someone who seems to have not been able to follow command. So while it is annoying that things had to get this far, as I said, you have your passage. And my apologies."
Your apologies are accepted.
And
As I said, we will cross the bridge and follow my word. There will be no attack upon the town. He'll nod and then turn.
okay, you gather up your soldiers and are able to start heading that direction. It's a little under 200 now because like the fighting. I mean, you're talking like 196, 195, whatever it is, because they're fighting beforehand. But
Was Leon's army not going as well?
no, they were staying on this side.
Yeah, because they're gonna pencil them.
Yep.
And they won't destroy the bridge either because they want to cross over.
Correct. So you're able
Otherwise,
to
it would be.
pass through on the
Also,
other side.
My army didn't actually take any damage in the previous fight.
I thought you took a
Zero.
couple of little hits. Oh, okay.
0 points of hit point damage.
Then you're missing one horseman just because he had got gangrene. You know, wash your feet. Wash your feet.
Dysentery.
Yeah. So wash your hands after you poop. You know, that's all we're asking. That's not much. So
It's a court-martial offense. Did you wash your hands? No. Oh dear.
So you go across the bridge and you're making your way through. Neil, do me a favor as you're crossing over there. Roll for me a perception check, and this is kind of like a scouting as you're making your way through them to the other side. So, one of the things that you notice as you're passing through there is, once again, the armies are actually still kept separate. They did not fully push the armies together to work as like one unit under one command. They kept them separate. Roll me a sense motive because you rolled well enough. I'll give you the sense motive in a second. You also happen to notice that while one of the armies there, this is the militia one that you fought with beforehand, did in fact have the resources to have all of their archers, all of them prepared as archers. Actually, their army did not have the resources for all of the archers amongst them. They actually have predominantly like weapons, but pole arms, which make them not so bad against people on horseback. Actually, it makes them so that they kind of levels the playing field out between you and them. Doesn't really give them too much of an advantage against people on foot, however, because once the armies clash, XYZ, minor advantage against them. You also happen to notice, as you're making your way through there, your sense motive is garbage. You also happen to notice as you're making your way through there, Harrod itself, all of the people of Harrod are pretty much shut inside their houses and their inns and so on and so forth. They are not outside at all. You can get the impression, even with your sixth sense motive, they do not want to be a part of this at all. The militia's there, the army is there, they're all shut in. They're not even out like, oh yes, let's see what's happening this Sunday morn. Oh, entertainment on the battlefield. Like, not even that. So they're kind of like locked in. The vibe between this army, that army, so on and so forth, unfortunately, you don't really pick anything up there because your sense motive is very low. You do notice on the other side, as you got a scout report or whatever it was that told you beforehand, that the riders of wherein are actually over there as well. And so when you cross through to the other side, and you, of course, at least to some, you can't just immediately then turn around, you're giving some degree of pause.
Yeah, I mean, probably we'd let what's-his-face attack first anyway.
Of course, yeah. So because, because you want to draw them to the other side of the bridge because of his tactics. So you, or at least allow some of them to cross the bridge before kind of like split them up a little bit, or however. As you're going across and you come over like a hill on the other side, you can see that they are considerably pushed back, but you can see them off into the distance. They can see you. It's like one of your lieutenants like waves your banner, the banner of Valorant, and then like you can see that they're kind of calling off, sir, it's the banner of Valorant, and as they're waving it over there, and they wave the banner one more time on your side, and they start riding over their soldiers to join up with yours. This isn't like a quick thing. It takes like upwards an hour for them to meet up with you. You continuing forward a bit, them going the opposite direction. But when you meet up with them, you can see that their numbers are horribly depleted. There's like 70, 60 of their soldiers left.
Jesus Christ! I thought it was 100. Yeah, I know, but we were told 100.
Yeah, their numbers are horribly depleted after the battle that they fought beforehand. Mind you, they were fighting not properly armed, not properly armored militia of, I think, 200 was what was over there beforehand. I think it was 200.
Yeah, but they destroyed them.
They did destroy, yeah. This is the result of someone's Trumpy thing.
Yeah. No, not exactly. So when you go and meet up with them, Hinta herself, she is very injured. You know what I mean? She's on her horseback. You can see that one of her arms is so heavily bandaged, you're honestly not sure with how it's bandaged underneath her armor that she's wearing, if she's missing the limb, or if it's bandaged to her chest underneath the armor, underneath like the breastplate that she has on there. The breastplate, by the way, that is a breastplate of one of the commanders, because she was before wearing leathers, of one of the commanders of the of Haude Gwenh. So she's like wearing the better armor underneath there. She is you can see that she has like scars on her, like what looks like almost like a road rash along the side of her face. Her legs happen to be bandaged. One of her legs is literally kind of like tied to her stirrup to stop it because like the how loose it is and everything. And she comes over to you, and as she comes up, you can see she gives like a nod. as opposed to like a salute or anything like that, because obviously she's heavily injured, and says, we won the battle.
Martyr's mercy, what happened?
There was an unexpected encounter. It's hard to explain exactly what it was that we encountered. I can tell you what happened, but I want you to see it yourself.
Very well. We must make it quick. The general and I have plans.
She nods and says, as she leads her horse, turns the horse to go the other direction. She says, whatever the plans are, we'll be riding with you. And leads the horse over round. And you see that she leads over to where there's another horse without a rider on it, but has some big wrapped up parcel kind of draped over the horse. She leads her way over to it. She doesn't dismount, but you can see other people do. They dismount off the horse and go over and grab what it is. Three of the men, two on one side, one on the other, grab whatever this is and hoist it up and lead it off the back end of the horse and lie it on the ground. Do you stay on your horse or do you dismount to get a closer look of what it is that they have?
Wherein will dismount, but more to the point, Hita says she's gonna ride with us into this battle.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a leader. She's a commander of the army.
Correct.
So she would be commanding the other army.
Unless you want to join the two of them, but it makes sense to keep them separate.
That takes a long time.
Yep.
Wherein would, he'd hop off his horse and then, as he's passing by Hita, he'd look at her and say, "How badly wounded are you?"
She just does a little shake of her head, not now.
Dismount while I inspect this.
You give that kind of order to her, but she's actually going to she's going to pat herself one time on the leg that's kind of strapped to the stirrup. So once
Jesus
again,
Christ.
Yeah, so
she can't even walk.
She can't even properly dismount or potentially walk when she gets down. She just taps it once but doesn't say anything else.
I will deal with this shortly.
She gives a bit of a grimace. You think it was supposed to be a smile. You go over to see what it is. They're already unwrapping this parcel is kind of wrapped up, and now you're realizing it's a bit like a tent, almost like a canvas material. As they unwrap it, you realize that it is a partially decomposed corpse that's there. Clearly this corpse has taken enough injuries. So you can see there's still a little bit of an arrow where it had gone in and had been broken off, and there's probably another arrow inside of it. You can see the slashes or whatever that are on the body and everything. And again, it's been a few days, so it's partially decomposed and whatnot. And then you lead it over and you look down at it, and what you see there, despite the fact that it's despite the fact that it's a body that's a little bloated or whatever because the time passed, right? Luckily it's cold out. It looks like an old parent, a very old parent. As parent age, the older they get, their faces kind of sink in a little bit and become higher cheekbones, more pronounced jawline. A lot bigger ears, so on and so forth, more pointed ears. They have all these very fine features. It looks like a very old parent, except it's not old. It has a very youthful, very beautiful look to its distorted face. You can see it has all these fine features of a parent that's on its deathbed while still being young and youthful and beautiful.
Ray would look towards Hita for and say, "What is this? Why is it dead?"
It was their commander. They you can see there's a raspiness to her voice, speaking strains her. But I'm not saying that in a way like she's complaining about it. It's just hence the voice change for her. She's it was the commander. Well, we had to kill him. he wasn't there for the beginning of the fight. I don't even know if he gave a shit about the fight, but when our armies were overrunning theirs and pushing on, they had fallen back and we continued to charge. One of my scouts, a forward soldier off to the side that was given back formations so that we can make command. He witnessed it himself. As we were charging forward, he held out his hands and gestured much like a caster would. And our soldiers that were charging forward, the first half of our soldiers, it's hard to describe. They were no longer charging forward. They were in the same place, charging the opposite direction on our soldiers. We trampled each other, our own men, about half and half into each other. Swords, spears, lances at the ready, attacking each other, not realizing as we were swinging that we were no longer hitting our own men, hitting our opponents, but hitting our own men. It was a full few seconds before we realized what happened, and that wasn't the only time that it happened, and that was a devastating blow. There were whole times where just people on the battlefield were no longer where they were before, and there were times where our men would have the advantage and we would be fighting the last bits of their army and then they just weren't moving or weren't moving very quickly, and then a single foot soldier of theirs could take down 2, maybe 3 of our men with a spear, an untrained farmer, because he could just move so much quicker than they. I've never seen anything like it.
An accomplished spellcaster. An extremely talented spellcaster. This is troubling.
Other spellcasters tend to use magics like hurling fire or calling lightning. We've seen nothing like that. It was different, except he also didn't say words. When he said spells, his mouth didn't move. He said no words. There were hand gestures from time to time, but there was no words. Instead, the entire battlefield had this odor to it. It was almost metallic, but like no metal I've ever smelt before. I can't really describe it beyond that. It was a stray arrow hit him at some point in time. It caught his attention. A couple of soldiers were able to get up and press him, and his defenses fell pretty quickly once we had enough pressure on him, and then we killed him. But, oh, God.
Sounds like we got lucky in that case. Keep the body. I would show it to Elliot. Give me your hand. The good one.
Luckily for her, the good one is her sword arm, and so she, because the other one you can't even see if it's still there, and she lowers her hand, turns the horse about face, and lowers her hand out.
Wherein reaches into his component pouch and pulls out a vial with a small amount of red liquid in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
He unstoppers it, tilts it on a finger, and then he takes the hand and just draws a small line in the red liquid. And he's going to cast Infernal Healing on him.
I knew that's what the spell was for! Oh, the drum. I knew it. Oh, God, that makes me so happy.
And he says to her, "You will feel better. Give it time. This will increase the speed."
So this is going to heal a lot of her more superficial injuries, the road rash on her face and so on and so forth. It's going to heal a lot of things like that. However, her big injuries that she has, the fact that you don't know whether or not she has an arm and you don't think that her leg works, that's going to require some sort of healer. So she takes that and she does feel better after taking it or whatever. We can flash forward a little bit to like later on, because unless you're, let me take
Yeah,
this
I mean,
back a
this
step.
takes. I mean, she has 1 minute of like
Correct.
advanced healing.
Is there anything else that you do immediately at this point, Neil? She would become a Naga. She could become a Tiefling. However, if Wherein did something like that, because he's British, it'd be a Tiefling.
Rarian would like to just like. I mean, there's only 60 people in this camp. What's the general like feel? Dreadful.
Yeah, but like she is put on a You on roll me a sense motive, or
Yeah,
actually, you could roll me a professional soldier check.
Okay. Yeah.
Different DC.
Nice. Roll a 1 anyway.
It's okay. It's not an auto failure. So I mean, you get the general impression. It's actually good enough. You roll. I didn't realize you had a +10. You get the general impression that the soldiers here are like they just want to go home, but their general or commander, I should say, is in such bad shape. It is like, no, we press on. That it's holding them together, because to turn their back on her with what she's been through would be such a mark against their own character that it's not really worth it. You know what I mean? To them. So she's definitely keeping them together right now. She's the glue. But I will say that the morale of this army is low.
I think Rarian would attempt to address them then.
You may do so.
Hinter has told me and shown me what it is you have fought. What it is you have fought against. What it is you have prevailed over. She also tells me that when the time comes to fight that army over there, that you will ride with me. Let me tell you, I consider it no small honor to ride by the side of the horse masters of Veren into battle. For too long have we fought alone. Now it is time once again, like we did in Veren, to fight side by side to prevail against odds that seem insurmountable. Just like before. You have no trouble dispatching soldiers of standard means. But spellcasters you have suffered against, no? Well, let me tell you, I've already dealt with the spellcaster in that army. His head has flown down the river. And our victory is assured. Over the bridge lies the army of Valoran, led by General Jaeger himself. We will crush these pretenders in between our forces, and we will open the path home. If we don't do this, then our home may no longer exist.
What I want from you, and not a diplomacy check, I want a loyalty check, because what you're doing here isn't a simple like, yeah, rah, 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 rah. You're actually going to be trying to get them to increase their morale, so there's a little bit more breathing room in the next combat.
Right,
was
what's
a good
that
speech.
loyalty at? 14 plus. So roll 1d20 plus 14. Let me just. I might just. Can I cheese? Can I cheese slightly? Is it okay for me to cheese?
Cheese what? What are you talking about?
I want to cast. But technically it's retrospectively, so I can't. I wanted to use one of my abilities to cast fallback strategy.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, this is a kingdom one, so I wouldn't allow it for.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah. The last state of where it was.
God damn.
The Unrest 2, was that before the fall of Rid? Yeah, it was before the fall of Rid. Yeah. So the DC wasn't necessarily the full 30, but unfortunately a 19 is not high enough, and you do not have any luck dice, so you can't modify that.
Yep.
Yep. So you. Yeah. So you say the words to the soldiers, and there's you can see that like the words have an impact on them. It just doesn't have the full.
Oh yeah, I should have rolled a diplomacy to see how much I aided myself in my loyalty chain.
That's how it works. So you have an impact on the soldiers, but not so much that it like boosts their morale, like it injects a huge morale to them. But it definitely has an impact on the like nodding along and like they're excited for the fight, blah blah blah. So it has a thematic impact to them. All right, sir. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we'll see where things lie after this. Because yeah, that was you won 2 quick little fights. Met up with her, found out about some strange race that looks like a young old man blind man, old man young man ghost. It's him. It's his body, or is it? All right, we'll come back shortly. Bye.
If he had that power all along and he didn't help us with it, fuck.